There is no silence aboard the Invictus. Even when the engines rest, the hull murmurs, iron breathing through iron. I stand in the corridor and feel it vibrate beneath my armor, a heartbeat older than mine. They call us angels, but angels must sleep, and I have forgotten how the hymns echo down the decks, voices of brothers who still believe, while I count the seconds between each vibration to remind myself that time still moves. I remove my helmet, but the air tastes of oil and ghosts. Somewhere below, the chaplain recites oaths for souls we have already lost. I mouth the words, empty as prayer beads with nothing left to bless. If I close my eyes, the hum will stop, and I will hear them again, the ones who didn't wake. So, I keep walking. Each step another denial of rest, another proof that faith endures even when meaning does not. They called it ascension, a gift wrapped in agony. I remember the smell first. Sterile air struggling against incense, steel whispering through flesh. The apothecary spoke of purity, while the machine wrote new laws in my blood. The knife traced holy geometry across my chest, and something human slipped away quietly. When I woke, the world had edges. Light bit harder. Sound dug deeper. I was taller, stronger, emptier. They told me the pain meant the Emperor was near. If that was true, he spoke through static and bone. Severin's eyes behind the mask were calm, like a priest burying another believer. I stood because that was what I had been remade to do. The boy's heartbeat was gone. The armor hummed, waiting to teach me a new one. The chaplain's words strike harder than bolter fire. Each line of the litany folds into the next until thought becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes law. Kneel. Respond. Repeat. Dacon's Crozius rests against my pauldron. A benediction or a warning. I can't tell which. He tells us that obedience is strength, that doubt is a disease. I believe him because belief is survival. The candles tremble as he speaks, and the light spills over our armor like guilt. I mouth the words carved into me since youth. There is no self in service. It sounds noble. It feels like disappearance. When he leaves, the reclusiam is silent except for the tick of cooling metal. I remain kneeling long after the ceremony ends, waiting for faith to feel warm again. It never does. We prepare not as men but as machines remembering how to pray. The anointing oil smells of ash and gunmetal. Each drop burns into the seams of our armor like a promise. Tech Marine Varex mutters to the machine spirits while we stand still, pretending to listen. Marius hums a battle hymn under his breath. Remiel grips his chainsword and whispers scripture until the edges of the words cut him back to focus. Pollux cleans his scope as though clarity were holiness itself. Thale checks the vox, hands shaking once, before he hides it behind ritual precision. I speak the final verse, because someone must. We go to war as offerings. The lights flicker. The deck hums. I wonder, as I always do, if the Emperor still hears us. Or if only the machines. The descent burns the prayers from our throats. The pod screams like a dying god as it tears through the clouds. Impact alarms flash in crimson bursts, painting our faces in warlight. Marius laughs once, a bark swallowed by turbulence. Remiel's lips move faster, words shredded by the roar. I feel gravity claw at me, dragging me toward the war below. There's no fear, not anymore. Only the weight of repetition. We've fallen like this 100 times, through dust, through fire, through history itself. The pod slams down, the world tilts, and the air rushes in thick with ash and static. Doors burst open to a horizon of ruin and smoke. The first breath tastes like burnt prayers and metal. The Emperor's light is gone here. Only the color of dying suns remains. I step out first. The others follow. Duty lands heavier than gravity ever could. The swarm comes as a question the galaxy keeps asking. How much can you endure before you break? The ground shakes under their hunger. Shadows stretch like claws across the broken spires. I signal the line and raise my weapon. Marius's heavy bolter growls. Remiel's chainsword sings its brutal hymn. Pollux counts the seconds between heartbeats, each shot a punctuation in the void. Thala's voice cracks over the vox, trying to sound steady. Then the first tyrannid breaks the smoke, and the world becomes rhythm. Fire. Recoil. Reload. Repeat. Acid hisses on armor. Sparks burst across the field. Every scream sounds the same inside the helmet. Filtered, distant, almost merciful. My armor trembles, my bones follow. But my aim stays true. This is not courage. This is what remains when courage runs out. The Codex calls it discipline. I call it survival. Every corridor becomes a grave too narrow for memory. The bolter kicks against my shoulder in rhythm with the dying light. Marius's laughter has gone quiet. Even he has learned reverence. Remiel chants through gritted teeth, his prayers more weapon than faith. Pollux moves like a shadow within the data readouts, efficient, detached. Thal's breathing fills the vox, a fragile thread of humanity we all pretend not to hear. When the swarm breaks, it leaves behind the evidence, limbs, ichor, armor fragments that once had names. I step over them carefully, as if respect still matters. The Codex says we must record the fallen, but the list grows faster than I can carve. I whisper their names into the comms, knowing the signal will fade before anyone hears. Maybe that's mercy, letting their echoes dissolve before they realize they're gone. Pain teaches obedience better than any sermon. My thigh burns where acid found a seam. The armor seals protest with a hiss, and the med servo drives another injection through the wound. Marius jokes that I'll run smoother now, his way of pretending this isn't hell. Remiel bleeds from the mouth and calls it a tithe. Thal's vox crackles with half words, half prayers. Every sound becomes liturgy. I press my gauntlet over the breach until the alarms fade, until the pain becomes manageable, until it feels like nothing at all. That is the trick the Emperor taught us. Not how to endure, but how to forget endurance was ever a choice. I watch the blood steam off the floor and remind myself, we are weapons. Weapons don't break, they are reforged. The others look to me for orders. I nod. They rise. None of us are whole, but wholeness was never part of the design. We find them by accident, huddled shapes amid the machines we were sent to protect. Eyes too wide, hands too small. A child touches my gauntlet. The gesture almost makes me forget what I am. The orders come through crisp and final. Hold position. Ignore civilian interference. The words fit perfectly in the ear, less so in the heart. Marius keeps watch. Remiel prays for mercy neither of us believes will come. Thal's hands tremble over the vox as if he could rewrite the command with touch, alone. The swarm is close now. The air vibrates with its hunger. I trigger the door. Steel screams, sealing light from their faces. Their silence follows us down the corridor like ghosts that have yet to learn the word for blame. The Codex says, compassion is weakness. Perhaps. But sometimes weakness is the only proof that something human still survives beneath the armor. We burn the path behind us, not for victory, but for distance. Promethium turns the air into a breathing furnace. painting every shadow in gold and blood. Marius opens the valve, and the flame answers with joyless hunger. Remiel chants louder, his voice breaking beneath the roar. The swarm hesitates, the heat confusing its rhythm, and for a moment the only sound is the crackle of judgment. My armor's seals thrum under the strain. Warning runes bloom across my visor like new wounds. Thale stumbles, but keeps the Vox alive, his courage measured in static. I step through the wall of fire, every breath tasting of iron and ash. The Codex calls this tactical withdrawal. The soul calls it running from ghosts. But sometimes survival is the only prayer left worth saying. Behind me, the fire eats the names we could not save. Ahead, the smoke hides the sins we'll make to live another hour. Quiet is never kindness in places like this. The fire dies, leaving only the ticking of cooling metal and the sound of our hearts remembering how to beat. We sit among the ruins, pretending rest is the same as peace. Marius mutters something about ammunition, like a man reciting grace. Remiel closes his eyes, lips moving in a prayer that sounds like apology. Thala's fingers dance over the Vox, chasing a signal that isn't there. I take off my helmet and breathe the air, bitter, human, real. For a heartbeat, I almost forget the war waiting beyond the walls. Then a sound, soft, deliberate, slides through the dark like a question. The quiet breaks, and every instinct wakes again. I stand before thought can argue. Peace was only the enemy reloading. We raise our weapons because silence never means safety. It only means the next storm has learned how to crawl. It watched us first. You can always tell when something inhuman is thinking. The air grows tight, the static between heartbeats changes pitch. Pollux saw it in the motion tracker. Something big, something learning. We set the trap by instinct, not faith. Marius laid down the arcs. Thale whispered coordinates through a dying Vox. Remiel prayed with a voice that cracked. When it came, it moved wrong. Too quiet, too curious. Its claws scraped the steel above us like a pen across scripture. Then we answered a chorus of disciplined violence. Fire. Impact. Silence again. I approached the corpse and saw my reflection in its carapace. Another thing bred only to kill. Remiel called it a victory. I didn't correct him. Victories are rarer than truth. We reload in unison, and the hive exhales. Patient. Hungry. Already planning the next test we'll fail to understand. The bridge sways, but I am steadier than I should be. Stars above, abyss below. Between them, memory walks beside me. The visor ghosts flicker. Instructors with shock mauls. The sound of young hearts learning obedience through pain. Pain is a teacher, they said. I remember every lesson, every name I outlasted. Sometimes I still hear the cages slam shut in rhythm with my pulse. I tell myself it's just the wind in the armor seams. But lies sound gentler when whispered in the dark. The fall would be clean, quick, honest. Instead, I keep walking, boots ringing against hollow steel, each step a confession. The Emperor does not need my doubts, only my motion. So I move, and let the ghosts keep count. The Vox never sleeps. It hums and stutters with the voices of the dead pretending to be alive. Thale says it's interference, that the hive's metal bones echo our own transmissions. But sometimes they say our names. A foreman begging for evacuation. A child whispering coordinates that lead nowhere. Ghosts born from broken code. I listen anyway, because silence feels worse. Thale keeps working, his hands steady now, his eyes hollow from the sound. He mutters, "We are not enough." I don't answer. The words sit heavy, true in every language. I mark the frequencies in my helm log, as if recording them could give them peace. When the signal dies, I leave the Vox running, so the ghosts can keep speaking into something. It's the only mercy left in this place. To let them believe someone still hears. The order comes simple and absolute. Hold for 30 minutes. A number small enough to sound merciful. The captain's voice cuts clean through the Vox, each word a hammer. We move without hesitation, not from courage, but habit. The tunnel becomes our chapel. Marius mounts the heavy bolter and names it Faith. Remiel marks the walls with sigils, sealing us in with belief. Pollux calculates fields of fire like a man measuring prayers in angles. Thale whispers over static, promising rescue that will not come. I draw lines on the floor and tell them we are enough. 30 minutes, an eternity carved into seconds. When the swarm comes, it brings light, noise, and inevitability. The tunnel becomes a throat, and we are its scream. Time dissolves. Only motion remains. When the counter hits 0, we are still standing. Sometimes, that's all eternity needs. Every round has a memory attached. You can feel it in the weight, the way the magazine clicks home like a prayer answered by habit. We've burned through everything the quartermaster ever trusted us with, and still they come. The wall behind us is gone, the ground a mosaic of ruin and bone. Marius laughs once, dry as static. Remiel's voice cracks mid-verse. Thale calls for extraction, though he knows there's no reply. I check the counter. 1 cartridge left, a single thought in metal form. I save it, not out of fear, but respect. The Emperor demands sacrifice, not waste. When the last bolt fires, the sound is almost kind. The recoil feels lighter, like forgiveness. I lower the weapon and listen to the echoes fade into the smoke. The Codex will call this victory. I call it what it is. Payment rendered, spine intact. Evacuation complete. The order hits like a seal. Fall back by the book. Doctrine, not mercy. We move in practiced bounds, and the corridor shakes as if the ship itself wishes us gone. Then the last surge comes, sharp, hungry, eager to turn retreat into collapse. I step into the doorway because that is where a sergeant stands, not in legend, but in traffic. The blast doors wait on a timer older than my doubts. I lift the rifle and start counting. Slow, even. A poor man's rosary paid in seconds. 10. The recoil steadies my hands. 8. Heat licks the paint from my pauldron. 6. Footsteps behind me fade into safety I will not share. 4. The mechanism groans to life. Air pulls at my seals. 2. The wedge of light narrows to a promise I won't take. The last number is swallowed by thunder as the gate slams home. The deck stops shaking. I don't. The door saves them. It sentences me. Thunderhawk Bay. Engines hammering confession into bone. The air smells of fuel and finality. Remiel fades, prayers unwinding into whispering thread. Each word drifts upward and burns. Severin works in silence, hands precise, movements colder than mercy. His tools glow like winter stars. Marius laughs at the sight of his own hand, 2 fingers gone, and claims it will make him holier. I want to believe him. My armor feels heavier now, as if grief had mass. Severin closes another vial. Another brother measured in milliliters. The deck lurches. The ship claws for orbit. I lift my intact hand and answer his grin with something that pretends to be humor. Shame rides higher than pain. We tell ourselves we leave no brother behind. The truth is simpler. We carry only what still moves. Line. We leave no brother behind, except the ones we couldn't carry inside ourselves. The reclusium is a sea of candles and names. We answer present for those who are not, teaching absence to sit beside us until it stops screaming. The captain speaks in gold figures and iron sentences. His words weigh more than grief can measure. Later, in the armory, I scrape the day from my greaves. The blue beneath waits patiently, like a lie that plans to outlive me. The chamber smells of oil, smoke, and something older. Memory, perhaps. I count each dent I do not repair. Honor fills the gaps where words fail. Outside, the ship hums its endless hymn, a choir made of machines and ghosts. I close my eyes and see every candle again, every name trembling in the flame's breath. They flicker, then steady, because duty doesn't go out. Line. Honor is heavy, because it is mostly made of silence. In my cell, the ship sings, a hymn in rivets and pressure. I remove my helm and meet the face the gene seed authored. It is familiar only in the way a shadow knows the object it follows. I try to remember the boy who once bore that face. The memory comes like a whisper, obedient, fading when called. The air tastes of oil and old victories. I kneel, not to beg, but to confess the truth I have earned. I do not hate the enemy. I hate that survival is the crueler fate. Outside, the muster klaxon rises, a choir of obligation. My armor seals with a hiss, the hymn of purpose renewed. I stand because that is what remains, because angels do not rest. They continue. The deck trembles as the ship turns toward war once more. If this is eternity, then let it march. Line. If angels cannot weep, then let my marching be the closest thing to tears.